if you had any doubts whatsoever that this social media age verification bill is nothing but a Trojan horse, firstly have a look at this paragraph in the explanatory memorandum of the bill, and then have a look at this interview between Senator Gerard Rennick and some of the bureaucrats at ACMA. Firstly, this is paragraph 33 of the explanatory memorandum on page 22, and it says, in addition to age assurance, which is what we say this bill is meant to be only about, right? Compliance with minimum age obligations is also likely to require the platforms to implement systems and procedures to monitor and respond to age-restricted users circumventing age insurance. Now, consider those words and have a look and listen to this video, this recording of Senator Gerard Rennick talking and questioning these ACMA bureaucrats. Now, in this, Senator Rennick is talking about VPNs, or virtual private networks, which gives the user the ability not to disclose the location and where they are from. So just have a listen to this.
I mean, about 1.5 billion people in the world have VPNs. Is this going to be able to cope with VPNs, this particular legislation?
We had a discussion about VPNs just before. Did you want to go back to that?
Yeah, sure. So that will partly go to the reasonable steps requirement that the platforms are required to take. As we discussed before, like it or not, people put a lot of information on a platform. When you post a photo, typically the photo is geotagged. You may also talk about the location you're in. So the obligation is on the platforms to have systems, to take reasonable steps, to check if that age-restricted users, so under 16. So it's a binary, is this person under or over 16? No other information. That's what it's looking at. So in terms of the steps, if someone is using a VPN, but over the course of a year, their posts are, I went to the Bulldogs Roosters match today, I'm at Bondi Beach today, then the platform will be able to see that and take the reasonable steps to at least require some other form of age assurance from that person, because there is a reasonable assumption that person is in Sydney, for example.
Okay, so, yeah, and I'd sort of call that a form of surveillance.
A form of surveillance. Senator Rennick is absolutely spot on here. Now, let's be real clear what these ACMA bureaucrats are talking about. They want to put in place some form of global surveillance for all social media platforms to track down Australians, to monitor your posts, to try and find out if you are actually in Australia and using a VPN, and then forcing you to comply with this legislation to obtain some type of biometric or digital ID. This is something you would expect from Russia or China to do, to try and track down their citizens using VPNs. This is exactly what these ACMA bureaucrats are talking about. This is the Orwellian future that these people, these control freaks at ACMA, who have been given unprecedented powers by the Liberal and Labor Party under this legislation, want to do. And yet, we have the Liberal Party voting for this. How many members of Parliament of the Liberal Party have actually done their homework and know what they are voting for, and know they are voting to give ACMA these powers, and ACMA plan to employ this global digital surveillance to track down and hunt Australians using VPNs by monitoring their posts to see if their posts say something like, I was at Bondi Beach today. I said, this is the stuff you would expect from Russia or China, but this is what is being brought in by the Albanese government and supported by the Liberal Party of Australia. It is an absolute disgrace. Sir Robert Menzies would be rolling in his grave.